didn't come to Philly just to watch the Eagles. It's also a great opportunity for us to visit the mothership, meaning Comcast, the owner of NBC Universal, and that's the company that signs my paychecks in the town where I grew up. And anybody who's ever heard me say the word water or Merry Christmas knows that Philadelphia is my real home. Now, all year, people have been focused on the high-profile attempted mergers in the space, with Comcast currently trying to acquire Sky, the big British media conglomerate. Or they fret about cord cutting. But the truth is, Comcast is doing well right now. They grew earnings at a 30% clip last quarter, and they're not your father's cable company anymore. They're a tech company focused on connectivity with you, the customer. Yet the darn thing stock is down roughly 10% for the year. I think you're getting a chance to buy a nice blue chip stock at a discount. It sells for just 13 times earnings, for darn sake, which is pretty inexplicable when you think about it. But do not take it from me. Let's check in with our special guest, Brian Roberts, the chairman and CEO of Comcast, who also happens to be my boss's boss's boss. Mr. Roberts, welcome back to Mad Money. Good to see you, Brian. Have a seat. Well, it is great to see you.
Welcome home.
Oh, thank you.
Having you back.
And thank you for making home precious and fabulous. Let me ask you, 7 months ago, a game was played, a 60-minute game. And I think that game and its outcome changed the city that your family's from and my family is from. I know it was 41 points us, 33 them, but do you feel it? And how can one game change a city so much?
Well, you can feel, and everyone's so excited for tonight coming back, and I just saw Brent's Super Bowl ring. It just means you're the world champion. But for Philadelphia, we've been starved my whole lifetime. I've been to 3 Super Bowls. This was it. And of course, being on NBC was pretty special, just icing on the cake.
Now, we're business people. I search for a metric, some measurement that would indicate how much more valuable our great city is than it was before that win. How do we put it tangibly?
You know, you're great at figuring that stuff out. I'll tell you what we did. We put a little William Penn statue on the top of the new building, which, of course, there'd been a curse when we wanted the city built above William Penn's hat. That was the folklore. The first building, we put a statue there. We won the World Series. Second building, we won the Super Bowl. How do you measure the value? It's pretty exciting.
I think you've measured by saying that we're winners now, not losers. Okay, let's talk some business. About a year ago, Comcast flagged a slowdown in video subscribers. It snowballed into some strange narrative where people just said, you know what it's really about? It's about cord cutting. It's about the death of broadband because it's slowing. I now look at your most recent quarter, and I have to tell you, I think the death of cable seems very much exaggerated. Video sub losses seem to be decelerating, frankly, and broadband subs seems to be accelerating. So is it time to say that the Renaissance is back?
You know, I do think that there's something in that, big time. We saw a shift with streaming video. First reaction is this is bad. Reality is you need broadband, you need the fastest internet, the best Wi-Fi. We have the best in the nation. So in the second quarter, and throughout the first half of the year, but particularly, like you said, in the second quarter, we had the best broadband sales in 10 years. And it's a 20-year-old product. So is that a one-month phenomenon, one-quarter phenomenon? I don't think so. We're doing well, and we're continuing, and I think that's because we've got connectivity. As we've repivoted the whole company and said, okay, video's critical, but some video customers don't want the big package, fine. We're focusing our video on the full experience we call X1. It's been great, but over in broadband, we now are selling broadband untethered. We're finding lots of customers really enjoying that product. Then we move into business services with broadband, and we had a $7 billion business that didn't exist 10 years ago. So the company is more a connectivity company than it's ever been, and we're having great success.
All right, so what do you say to people who just listen to what you said and concluded, well, wait a second, stock's down 10%. That's why they have to go make a very big acquisition in Sky, and therefore we shouldn't really necessarily believe that things are as good as you just lied out.
Well, you're just going to have to see our results. You know, Comcast, we've been in business a long time, and we're an operating company, and you know Steve Burke really well at NBC. Sure. Dave Watson, who runs cable, is really doing a fantastic job, and that's one of my disappointments this year is that Fox and Sky, driven by Rupert Murdoch's decision to sell the company, not our desire to change who we are. Why wouldn't we look at it? We found it was undervalued. We put in a price. Eventually, Disney offered more, and we walked away. But people then took that and made a narrative that said we didn't love our core business, when in fact, our core business is having a renaissance, and that's because people want to be connected, they want Wi-Fi everywhere, we now have 20 tablets and devices in a home. Our power users use 300% more, 10% of our customers, about 600 gigabits a month. And that's literally triple what the average customer takes. What does that mean? Means in a couple years, we all want to be what the power users doing today, so our capacity is great.
You're describing a technology company that is getting more out of each customer because the connectivity allows you to answer exactly what a customer really wants. This is a different kind of cable company. Those of us who don't have Comcast, we have a cable company. We don't particularly like them, and they don't particularly know what we want. It sounds like you've been able to harness what people want and then give it to them.
Well, we've pivoted the company. And what you're seeing behind you is our technology center, and we had a chance to walk through it today. About 10 years ago, we said the world's changing, and we wanted to change the company. We have a new chief technology officer back then, Tony Werner. He's built an entire culture and organization, and I think it's second to none. And when we finally ran out of space here, we said, you know what, it's time to pivot the company from a finance company and cash flow only and customer products to innovation, technology, and something that you won't recognize.
Brian, I respect history when it comes to picking stocks. I know that when you make a big acquisition, stock drops. Stock averages 7%. And then after that, it's off to the races. Give us that narrative. Maybe that should suffuse what we should think about Sky, because we don't know yet what's going to happen with Sky.
Can't talk about Sky, but you're right. Historically, whether it was QVC, NBC, or AT&T, each acquisition, we have have to prove it. We have a show me attitude by the investors. I respect that, understand that. Our job is to sort of not let that distract us from the mission at hand, which is to build value for the shareholders. I look at, if you said to me, what are you most proud of? When my dad took Comcast public in 1972, if you bought 1,000 shares, $7,000, you'd have just about $12 million, 17% compounded return for 48 years. If you put it in the S&P 500, you'd have about $750,000, about 15 times less money. So we're looking for value opportunities, we're looking for strategic fits, and we have a management team that likes to build shareholder value. And so sometimes when we see something, by definition, you're the high bidder at that moment. It takes a little while to convince people, you've got to prove it. And I think we've done that, and I hope NBC is probably the best acquisition we ever made. At the time, we were a cable company. We saw content being more valuable over time. And now, of course, everyone wants to get into content. And they're looking for what we bought 8 years ago, 9 years ago. So same thing we think can be true in international, it can be true in connectivity and broadband. Our job is to be one step ahead and then eventually come to the investors and try to make the case once we've got the goods to prove it.
There is a lot of news every day. Today, Les Moonves looks like he might be out. We have controversy involving sports, Colin Kaepernick. Is this just an era where we should expect that entertainment is in flux? Because I've got to tell you, I'm used to talking about inside the lines, not outside the lines.
You know, it's a very unusual period. We're all learning and playing by a new set of rules every day. Again, I think what makes Comcast great is a certain consistency of our team, our focus, and trying to give our customers ultimately, and viewers, products and services and news. And we don't always, find that an easy or a comfortable time to be, but we do the best we can. I think by and large, we have a very unique, special company with Comcast, NBC Universal. The culture, the people, the teamwork, that's what ultimately over 50 years, over 20 years, over 10 years, you get the results that what I just said in the stock. It doesn't happen in one moment, and you've got to try to turn the noise off and have some core values.
Well, I think that I love turning the noise off because our viewers think long term. We're not trying to be in Comcast today and out tomorrow. I like that perspective, the $12 million perspective. That's the way to be. Okay, that's Brian Roberts, Chairman and CEO of Comcast Corporation, CMCSA. Stick with Cramer.
Thank you.
Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.